of the scenery through the two mountain cuts. They get the backdrop of the fall foliage against the trains. I will take credit for the actual cutting down of trees and mowing of the grass, painting the bridge. I saw something and just went and did it, and it has blossomed greatly from it. And it makes me feel good that we do have this and that I was the one that brought them here.
I'm Rich Bernazzoli. I'm the superintendent of schools, the present superintendent of schools of the Portage Area School District. The earliest school that we have on record is the Eitel School that opened in 1829. What's interesting is as these schools grew in these little towns and villages, hamlets, they would add more schools. For example, Ben's Creek had 4 schools, Jamestown had 3 schools. At the turn of the century, in the early 1900s, there was a need for a new school. And so they built the new school down here on Caldwell Avenue. And it was, by all estimates, the first large elementary school serving most of the grades. An expansion, right beside that, we built a new school, if you will, but they were combined, and I think that one had the gym and the auditorium added to it. 1949 was the hallmark year for public education in Portage. 1949 was the consolidation of the Portage Area School District. So the township schools and the borough schools joined together. In 1959, the tract of land that sits on top of the hill on top of Mountain Avenue was acquired, and they built a new high school. That building was renovated in 1990, and we've been making improvements. We did an upgrade the last 2 years with new seating in the auditorium, new bleachers, graded all the storefronts, added a new exercise facility for our student body. So it's pretty current, with all the facilities and all the systems being upgraded. The new elementary school now, which was built in 1975, we are now in the process of a major renovation in that building. It's scheduled to be completed by September of next year. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the parochial schools. St. Joe's was the first parochial school to be established in the 1920s. Shortly after that, Sacred Heart opened a primary school, kindergarten, elementary school up till 8th grade. Then Bethany Methodist Church opened up just a kindergarten back in the 70s, and then of course the Wesleyan Holiness Academy. So it was all part of a very rich educational history here in Portage. The thing about this town, it's one of the few hometown schools left, and it's just a joy serving it because of the people, the students we get, and the accomplishments that we have gained. Just last year, we were named a bronze school by U.S. News & World Report. Our writing scores ranked 4th in the state out of 500 school districts last year. For all years since the inception of the PSSAs, we have made AYP. And of course, that is the report card of every school district.
My name is Joe Gribben, and I'm here today to talk about the Portage Area Football Stadium. The stadium was built from 1939 to 1942 by the Works Progress Administration, and it's made out of natural stone that was quarried locally, and it's a pride of our community. It's the home of the Portage Mustangs, a team everybody in town loves. The Mustangs recently had a 32-game winning streak, and they took the Westpac Conference, their local conference. They won the last 3 years, and we're very proud of that. Friday nights in Portage, and it's very quiet, except at the stadium. It gets quite boisterous. The stands are packed. It holds 5,200 people. It's standing room only. They've recently renovated some of the stadium. They put in a new scoreboard, state-of-the-art. It has video, has advertisements, of course, out-of-town scoreboard. They have a brand new press box. They also expanded the restrooms. Not only is the stadium 68 years old, it's also modern in all the modern upkeep they've done for the stadium. Along with the stadium, the activities at the stadium include the pep rallies. There's Meet the Mustangs up at the high school. We have the bonfire, which is normally the Thursday before the first home game. And it's a gigantic bonfire that they hold in the parking lot. Another thing is the community involvement with the football team. The parents, the community at large, the advertisers, most of the parents of the cheerleaders, the band, the football players, they're involved in some way to make the program successful. The band boosters, in fact, run the concession stands to raise money for the band. Community involvement, you can see it throughout the town. Of course, the parents have the banners on their homes, too. They say so-and-so lives here or so-and-so lives here with their number. So it builds a lot of pride and a lot of top-of-the-mind stuff for the community. Before the game, after the Pledge of Allegiance, the kids all get to run out on the field. And it's so cute. You see them all running out there. They form a tunnel, starting from the locker room towards one of the goalposts. And they all line up, and here comes the team. They come through the tunnel. They bust through the big banner. I think that it brings so much pride to the town. Our football team has been successful. I think the coaching staff does a good job. They keep the kids well prepared. The team is a big part of the town, especially on Friday nights, and you can see it throughout the town.
My name's Karen Jones, and I'm here to represent the Women's Club of Portage. It's a group of women from the borough as well as the township. The ladies range of different ages, anywhere from maybe the age of 23, 24 to 90. And they're just ladies who want to give back to the community and be involved and work together. There's a good sense of camaraderie among them. Every year we have projects, and we meet from September through May. And during that time period, we try to be consistently the same so people know they can count on us. Our vision is to help to give the community a better sense of well-being and to bring joy in their lives and to help the children of the town go ahead and have what we call like a happy childhood. We want to be a part of that. One of the things we do is we hold the local Easter egg hunt. The kids come from not just our town, but neighboring towns, and we hide the eggs, and there's prizes, and it's age groups, and they're so excited, and their families come, and there's great joy, and there's people linger and just have a nice morning. We collect for the Support the Troops, which is one of our more serious activities that we do. During the Portage Summer Fest, we collect the money, basically trying to give back to our young men who are out serving our country. We're involved in the Portage Winter Fest. Whatever's going on, we're involved in too. So we're there supporting them as they support us. We also financially support some of the activities, like the Portage Library will give to the senior citizens group, maybe the volunteer firemen, and sometimes that rotates and sometimes it's every year. But what is challenging for us is that we fundraise our own money to give back to the town. Even though we don't have, I think, any one thing that brings us all together, probably one of our strongest suits is the children. You see a real sense of community in that way, and I think we're a part of that picture. People always rise to the occasion here. So it's great to live in this small town that people really care. You wave and you say hi. I love Portage. It's a great place to live.
My name is Regis Huschak, and I'm the president of the Portage Area Historical Society, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about the society and about the Portage Station Museum. The Portage Historical Society began informally in 1989, and then they became an official organization in 1992. We've been in the Station Museum since 1998. The building was owned by the Stager family, and they donated the use of the building to us. 99.9% of everything is donated. The Historical Society has several fundraisers which have really proven to be great. Every spring for the last several years, we've had a ladies' spring tea. Ladies come in and they're served and pampered, and they just have a wonderful time. In the summertime, we run the Great Portage Yard Sale, which is the largest community yard sale in the entire region. And for the last 2 years, we've had a fall book sale. So all of these fundraising things that we do permit us to keep our doors open. The Station Museum was the Pennsylvania Railroad Station from 1926 until about 1954. The downstairs, the first floor, is used for displays. We have the old office downstairs, the Ticketmaster's office. We have a kitchen that runs between the 20s to the 40s, all set up, and that's very permanent. We have permanent displays of Portage that don't change. And downstairs we also have exhibitions and displays that change. And of course we have the museum store. Up on the second floor, the mining equipment, we have quite a collection of the old-fashioned augers and the dynamite boxes and all those digging pikes and so forth that were used. We have a tabletop 3D display which shows all of the mines in the area. Then, of course, we have the miniature mainline railroad. The miniature mainline was the brainstorm of a real railroad enthusiast, and that's Charles Edwards. Charles designed and built the miniature railroad, which takes us from the Portage Station all the way to the Horseshoe Curve in Altoona. And all of this was made possible by a local sports enthusiast, Robert Bing James. The platform that's right outside of the second floor here is large enough that they can wait for a train to go by, and the children especially really like trains. One of the things that is in our mission statement is to not only preserve and promote, but also to educate, especially the youngsters, where they learn about the local history. Of course, they come to see the trains run also and learn about that part of the history. They learn about the mining, they learn about the logging that went on. It's important that in our educational program, wherever it happens to be, that we make sure that the kids know what was here before, where they came from, what was here, how the people had to work, and what they had to do. We learn from the past. If we don't, we're in trouble.
I'm Treva Lucas. I'm here to talk about the Summerfest. I've been involved with it since the start and love doing it, so I keep doing it. The Summerfest started with the centennial because we had a gentleman, Joe Vargo, who had a dream to have a festival every year after the centennial. And it's been going on for 20 years since the centennial. What it is a large reunion for Portage. The older people can't always get out, but for the Summerfest, they'll get someone to bring them down to the park because we showcase the park and everything happens down there. That way, it's a small area for the older people to get around in and younger ones to really enjoy it. It starts Friday and goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's the second full weekend in August. We have dances, we have fireworks, which is our biggie, is the fireworks. People come from all over to see our fireworks. We have parade, all kinds of foods and crafts. Then we have petting zoo for the children. We have games for the children. And our biggie is free entertainment. And we have some for the children, some for the adults. It's a whole family thing going on. Summerfest has grown by leaps and bounds. It keeps getting larger every year. And we keep expanding down at the park. And just like the car club, they have theirs now on Sunday at the Summerfest, and they take up one whole part of the park. I mean, there's hundreds of cars there, and now it's grown very large. There's tens of thousands sometimes. It depends. And if we have a good weekend with the weather, there are so many people there you can hardly move around. The food at the Summerfest is just marvelous. I mean, we have ethnic, we have any kind you can think of. We have everything good. You just walk around and your mouth just waters. And we have a tent just for people to sit and eat. And there's tables all around so they can watch the entertainment and buy food and eat and enjoy themselves. We have a gazebo where we have some of the entertainment down there. We have some of the entertainment on the tennis court. And the basketball court we usually leave open because sometimes we have a tournament down there. We keep including different things and try to make it more interesting for people. It is just a wonderful weekend. I have not talked to anybody that's been there that did not enjoy themselves. So, we want to see this go on, actually forever.
My name is Jeff Trimbath, and I was born and raised here in Portage, Pennsylvania. My parents were born and raised here, as well as my grandparents. George Wasco and Peg Wasco, my grandmother, were the business entrepreneurs of Portage. He started off with an auto supply store back in 1941. And from the auto supply store, Wasco Auto Supply, he ended up building a hardware store. And from there, he got into movie theaters. And in 1941, he opened up the Rex Theater in Portage. And then in 1943, he ended up buying the Rivoli Theater. So he ran 2 movie theaters in the town of Portage up into the 50s. And then in 1955 is when he decided to branch into the drive-in. So in 1955, May 28th was the first premiere of the opening of the Bar Ann Drive-In. And he named the drive-in after his 2 daughters, Barbara and Peggy Ann, which Peggy Ann's my mother and Barbara's my aunt. It has a 400-car capacity for the drive-in, and at the time, it was the biggest thing in the area where people were driving in from all small towns to come to the drive-in here. Being that the drive-in was owned by my grandfather and run by my grandfather, it became a family business. So we were running the movie theaters and the drive-in continuously together. So we would be downtown on Main Street, Portage, while we're running the Rivoli Theater, and then we would leave after that theater was closed, go up to the drive-in for the intermission, do all the concession, and then stay for the late movie until it would be finished at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. Right now, it's a resurgence. Of course, back when the videos were coming out and all the DVDs were starting to come out, of course, the businesses started to drop, but the nostalgia is what's bringing it back right now, because this summer, it was a very busy summer. Sellout weekends, and it just seems that the people are starting to bring the next generation back into the drive-in mode. And one of the issues is because there were other drive-ins in the local area, but they're all closed, essentially, and now people are coming back to this drive-in now. In addition to the movie theater and the hardware store, he actually started WWML radio station back in 1961. And he ran that radio station for more than 28 years. And in the entire area, it was the Sunday polkas. And it was the polka hour, and it just ran every Sunday. And in 1971, he also started a closed-circuit television show out of Portage. And he ran that television show from 1971 to 1974 as a closed-circuit television show. The TV show basically dealt with local news from Portage, Crescent, different surrounding towns, and it was weather show, news channel, and it actually was advertisement, because in the hardware store he had a floor designated as Toyland. He would actually do ads and do demonstrations of different toys and different items that were for sale on this closed circuit television. And this was back in the 70s, well before QVC. So he truly was a business entrepreneur to think ahead. In addition to that, my grandfather was Santa Claus of Portage. And I didn't even know it as a child, because being in grade school, he would come to grade school and hand out candy to all the kids in grade school. And for years, I believed it was Santa Claus, but it was actually my grandfather, because he was into the toys, into the toy stores. So he basically would have children come up and make wishes, and get photographs of them sitting on his lap as Santa Claus, including myself, not even knowing that it was my grandfather at the time. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come and talk today about the businesses, is because my grandfather truly was one of the early businessmen, entrepreneurs, and pioneers of business for the town of Portage.
Hi, I'm Brad Steger, 4th generation dealer for Steger's Chevrolet Buick franchise. We started the business in 1924. My great-grandfather Phil started it. My grandfather Neil entered in 1948. My father Randy entered in 1971. And then I entered in 1998. You definitely don't see a lot of family dealerships. Times have changed as far as big corporations going to bigger oriented dealerships, but we're still selling the old-fashioned way, one at a time. It's like our website says. Technology has evolved, but the selling process is still the same. And we still treat the customer with respect, and we have a lot of repeat buyers, which has carried us through a lot in the recessions, in the most recent recession. So within the last 10 years, the internet has really changed the way we do business. Before 2000, me and my father would go to the actual auction on site. The nearest one really around here is Pittsburgh. We don't have to do that here. I'm at the dealership with the internet watching the cars go by. Someone comes in, I can take care of them. I can put my bids on. With that to me has helped out tremendous, saves a lot of time. You're always at the dealership, still taking care of the customer. Some of the things that we do for the community, we sponsor a driver education car for the school. We donate a lot of money to a lot of the athletic associations around the school, the Portage School. We also donate to the Crichton Corinth Park, Traditional Anglers of Pennsylvania, which is, I'm a member of the club. We also sponsor Little League, golf tournaments, child seat checks, and at least we're supporting the community back. What kept me in Portage was the lifestyle, I think, was mainly it. I like the area, I like the mountains, I love the Pennsylvania mountains. There's so much to do here. I think it's a very unique lifestyle that we live here in Portage, Pennsylvania, that it's a proud heritage.
I'm Father James Spontak. I'm the parish priest at St. Peter and Paul Byzantine Catholic Church here in Portage. We're actually in the Portage Township, just right outside of the borough. We are Catholic. We are in communion with the Catholic Church. And we also share the heritage, the liturgy, the spirituality of the Eastern churches that come from Constantinople, which is also the same heritage as the Orthodox churches. The parish actually began here in Prospect Street in the Portage Borough, and the parish began in 1917. And then there was the inspiration in the 1970s to build a church right outside of Portage Borough. It was actually a location where the parish has a picnic grounds, and which are still used. Our decor and our decoration very much enhances the celebration of the liturgy. Among the typical things, of course, are icons, which are common to the churches of the Christian East. The icons are displayed on a screen in the front, which is called the iconostas. The church itself is also very well decorated with